Well, the Two Rivers was born from first the availability of the space. We found that the location we are in was being auctioned, and having discussed in the meeting, we decided we are going to bid for it. The availability of the space helped us to plan and to imagine big, because in proximity of the city, there is nowhere you could get this kind of land. We looked at the location also, and we realized that on that side of the city, it was not well served. There was opportunity because the diplomatic corps, the middle class, more and more people are living out there. People are going as far as Limuru to live out there. We realized we are going to be in the center of a huge development. So we were never worried. Our main challenge was to get permission from the authorities to convert agricultural land to development land to commercial land, and luckily enough, the authorities concerned, the council, the government, the planners, they all been awfully supportive. We were at one time very worried whether we'd be ever allowed to take a route through Northern Bypass, but they did allow us. And therefore, our mall sits on two routes. You access it through Limuru Road, and we access it through the Northern Bypass. There is another road connecting Lavington and all those areas, cutting across Loresho and all those areas. So eventually that place is going to be the hub, the center, and we are happy to be located in the same location. So I think the decision we made was worth it, and the rest is history, really.
The vision of Two Rivers was conceived around the need to address the needs for high-quality commercial spaces for people to do business in. And what we set out to achieve is to create a first-world destination in terms of the quality of the planning, the quality of the infrastructure, and the quality of the customer experience. And that's what we sought to do when we made a decision to develop a mixed-use development in Two Rivers.
So when I first saw the vision of the Two Rivers development and the mall in particular, I was taken away. We were talking about building the largest mall in sub-Saharan Africa, outside of South Africa. Then we were planning for about a 500,000 square feet retail facility. And as well, at that time, we were thinking about putting 2 towers, which are going to be residential apartments. That changed over time. But I was just taken away by the scale of what we were going to be putting together. It was ambitious, it was bold, it was a big risk. We were taking over land that was essentially a Napier grass farm and converting it into valuable real estate, sinking in a lot of money. So there's a huge risk to it. I first saw the vision, I saw the bill, the potential bill, and I thought, okay, are we actually going to be doing this? So I was really taken away by it.
When the vision of Two Rivers was presented to me, the very first thought was really not in Kenya. This can't be happening in Kenya. Had done quite a bit of planning work and urban design work outside of Kenya in Dubai. And this looked like something that was coming out of one of those scenarios. And I really didn't believe that this was actually something that could possibly be done in Kenya. But as the vision was presented further, it became very clear that this was a very serious group. The vision of Centum, the vision from the board, was actually a very serious and tangible, and they had put together a lot of things in place in the background, even before beginning to communicate to the consultants and the technical people what they wanted to do. So it was very clear at that particular point, after it was explained, that this is real, and really wanted to be a part of it.
When the project was first presented to me in 2011, I found it to be quite an ambitious project. to transform 100 acres of napier grass and coffee into an urban master planned environment. And with the state-of-the-art technology, high-density development, mixed use, retail, offices, residential, was quite ambitious. The location of it just past Runda, the northern bypass had just been completed, so it was a beautiful site. Sloping, and there was the two rivers, the Gichi River and the Ruiruaka River. That's why it's called the two rivers, in case you didn't know. And yeah, so I went to the site first time 2011, August, and I looked at it. It had already been fenced, and it was just bush. Now, what we have on site right now is an amazing transformation of that landscape.
As an investor, we in the past have invested in real estate, but we had invested at a smaller scale. What was a more useful experience is that because we invest across a range of sectors, we understood the challenges that users of real estate face. And our investment premise is on resolving those underlying issues. So as an investor in real estate in the city, some of the challenges we've suffered are challenges of planning, challenges of lack of adequate infrastructural services, call it parking, call it traffic congestion, and reliability, power, water, etc. And we could see the trend towards urbanization and the trend towards demand for high quality spaces. And so we saw an opportunity to create a business in addressing the challenges that existed. And that was the concept of Two Rivers development as a broader principle. Now the mall, which is now what was very interesting, was then how do we create a destination? And we saw a need for it, a need from two perspectives. One is from a customer point of view, where you're looking at a one-stop shop, where you have the entire variety of offering in one place, and moving beyond the retail to other services like entertainment, food and beverage, because today the consumer is not just looking to come and shop, they're looking for a total experience. And we saw that need, and that was an unfulfilled need in this market. On the other hand, there was a need from retailers and tenants who are looking for high quality spaces at scale in centers that had everything under one roof. And so we came in with a vision of addressing that need, and that's what I believe we have done with the Two Rivers Mall, which actually we aptly called Two Rivers Retail and Lifestyle Center at the time, because it not only provides a retail solution, and it's not only dominant from retail, it's also dominant from an entertainment. And also what is forgotten is that it has a huge commercial as well, because we have 200,000 square feet of offices in Two Rivers. It has the largest array of banking services under one roof, wide array of restaurants under one roof, and wide array of traditional shops offering a retail experience, but also cutting across the whole gamut of retail services.
At Burgertman, the experience we have as a group, and it is, we've got the Kenyan office who executed the project, but we had backup from our South African office. Our experience comes from a DNA of having done complex buildings. It's come from a DNA of having done lots and lots of retail, of having done impossible buildings, meeting crazy timelines and stuff. So all of that builds into our ability to do a project like this. So what makes a thing like this happen? And the answer is very simple: a visionary client. That's it, the beginning and the end of it. If you don't have a client and a property owner and a property developer who's got a vision in his mind of what he wants to develop here, you will not have seen this building. We would not have been here. They would still maybe say, well, let's divide the 100 acres into Runda half-acre plots. So a visionary client is absolutely key. If you see any fascinating architecture or a building, you should know that behind that is a visionary client. A guy who saw something but hasn't got the own technical ability to make it happen, and he brings together a team who can make it happen.
So we do understand development, and we do understand the future, where the cities are moving to. And as long as we have the services, the water, the electricity, and the sewer which you can construct and generate, managing your own waste, it's an obvious thing. You have to be smart people. And we are smart people, and we're building a smart city. We believe this is going to be a node like no other by the time it is fully occupied. You know, when you say the space in large shopping centers is becoming saturated, I don't think somebody understands what they're talking about. The space depends on where you locate, which people you serve. It also depends on whether you are for the upmarket or the lower market. The spaces are not enough. If you look at the kiosk business, kiosks are everywhere, in the middle of the roads, in the backyard of the buildings, but they're all making some money. What we're doing when we develop a mall is put 1,000, 10,000 kiosks in one space. You really just make it easier for the affluent society to go and shop with ease. If you look at the traffic on Mombasa Road, if you look at the traffic on Thika Road, if you look at traffic on Limuru Road, if you look at traffic on Ngong Road and Langata Road, every morning these roads are jammed to capacity. From 4 o'clock, people are traveling to the city. This country is developing in a faster speed that many people understand. People don't even understand the development of the city. If you look at development between us here and Thika, there is no empty space left. If you look between here and Machakos, again, people are living beyond Machakos. If you look at Ngong, Syokimau, all these places, they are jammed. So I think people don't know. Nairobi is one of the fastest growing cities in Africa.
Mixed-use development, which was the vision of Two Rivers, really just means, and it's a worldwide thing that's just growing and growing, and it's actually driven by transport. So you develop something like Two Rivers, and you get rid of transport issues for people. People can live, work, play, entertain here, and when a school comes, they can go to school here. When a hospital comes, they can get medical care. So that's an underlying principle of mixed use, is to limit the time you have to take to travel to your work. And Nairobi is notorious for the time it takes you just going from one meeting to the next. And so mixed-use developments of this scale, and sometimes on a smaller plot, really has got that as an underlying thing. You can live there and you can work and you can play.
The development goes beyond many people's thinking what Nairobi is all about. We are bringing Dubai to Kenya.
If you look at Kenya, okay, Kenya is ahead of its peers in the region. But if you look at Kenya and you look at the per capita retail space, formal retail space available per 1,000 people, and you compare it with South Africa, market like South Africa, we are very, very far behind. We are perhaps 10 to 15% of where South Africa is. So relative to other peers, and even if you adjust for the size of our economy, we are moving from a situation where we are largely informal to a situation where we are formal. I think that movement is what creates an impression in the minds of people that there's significant investment happening in the retail space, just because there's a movement. Now, one of the trends that you're going to see as the economy grows, as you have an emerging middle class, is that you have a trend towards urbanization. Urbanization means that you start seeing formal retail developing. I remember when we were growing up, there were more kiosks than formal retail. We used to shop in a formal retail as an experience, and day to day we would shop in the kiosk. Our children will have a totally different experience. They perhaps will not see a kiosk. They will be shopping in the formal retail. When you are growing up, 60-70% of my clothes may have been mitumba. Today, many of our children have not worn mitumba because we all are aspiring for a better future for our children, and therefore you need to create these formal retail spaces. Now, when I then go specifically to what has been the occupancy experience of the various retail centers that have come up recently, and I pick Two Rivers, which is the largest in the market, at call it 670,000 square feet, we are at the moment about 74% let, 75% let. So you're speaking about 400,000 square feet of space, which is huge, which is larger than the second largest mall. Now, when I then also look at the interest that we have generated and the discussions that we are having with retailers from across the world who want to come and take space, my own assessment is that that space will be fully taken up within the next 1 year. And then when I look at the pipeline, we don't have as many large centers coming into the market. So I think the evidence, speaks differently. It's the development you're seeing is a consequence of the economic growth that you're seeing, the growth of the middle class, and just the changing trends and the aspirations of the middle class. That middle class has to be served. Some of the challenges we identified and that we sought to resolve were challenges around I would put them in various brackets. There are challenges around sustainability of the development, B, quality of infrastructure, and C, technology. So if I look at sustainability, it's a challenge. If you look at energy usage, energy utilization is critical. And some of the solutions we came up with were around the rooftop solar power, where we are generating our own power at the rooftop to reduce the carbon footprint. The second one is around recycling of water, and the investment now we've made that essentially recycles all our wastewater into a state which is potable. In fact, one of the challenges we faced with the Two River site is that we were not connected to a sewer line, and that was a big challenge. And it was considered one of the limiting factors to the densification of the Two River site. And that challenge became a blessing because it led us to explore various technologies. And we eventually settled for an American technology for water treatment solution, which consequently has meant is that we've ended up with a lot more water than we expected we were going to have, which is a big asset to have in this particular environment today. The second challenge was the infrastructural services. And having been investors in town and in various nodes within the country, some of these challenges we faced in the past are around availability of power and the reliability of that power. So what we've now done is we partnered with Kenya Power and Lighting Company. We invested in a dedicated high voltage line from Ruaraka, just dedicated to Two Rivers, and privately invested in a substation. So to get our power at high voltage and then step it down and then distribute it to the entire Princet. The second thing we did was around backup of power. And so we've invested in a very sizable power backup. When it's complete, that particular section, it will have about 7.5 megawatts of power backup. And the third segment was connecting the solar to that system. So then you have a dedicated power supply. Water is another major challenge. Availability of potable water is a challenge. The other challenges are challenges of parking, and we've made substantial investment in parking, and we continue to make substantial investment. The next phase is going to be the rollout of a dedicated parking silo with about 2,400 parking bays, in addition to in excess of 2,000 parking bays that we have in the development. The third area is then how do you employ technology to make for smarter cities, smarter, safer cities. And so we've then done it at various levels. One, from a security point of view, we partnered with a number of leading global organizations to develop a security solution, which also is able to give us analytics around what is going on in the center. And what we now have is perhaps one of the most modern security control rooms, which are able to survey the entire site and control the security of the entire site. We have at least 1,000 cameras installed in this particular phase, and then on top of that system, you then have a whole analytical system, which is able to give you trends such as how many visitors do you have, where are they visiting, what are the demographics of those visitors, and therefore you have the latest technology that you're using. We then also partnered with Safaricom and created a whole data communication backbone infrastructure that we've invested in. So at every point is now connected by fiber. So the tenants in the individual shops are then connecting into a system that works really well. And also through that partnership with Safaricom, we then also strengthened the 4G network within the site. So our visitors will be able to enjoy free Wi-Fi. As an example, there's a Two Rivers application that is riding on that network. You'll be able to locate where you parked your car on the network. You'll be able to pay for your parking from the network. We are going to get to a level where you're going to be able to pay for goods and services that you've shopped from the app, and then earn points, and then redeem the points, for example, at the waterfront, where we have a huge entertainment offering. Then finally, around the technology piece is that we invested in a data center. So we have one of the most modern data centers in Two Rivers, and that then provides, it means that whatever processing is going on, it's going on within the site, which is excellent for speeds and for connectivity. And it also gives our tenants solutions where they can then do their backup and even their processing from within, from within the data center. So those are the things we've done around sustainability, around the quality of the infrastructural services, and around the employment of technology to enhance security and just improve the overall customer and visitor experience at Two Rivers.
Putting together a team for a project like this really has to start from the vision, and really starts from the master planning stage, where you identify all the pieces that you want to put together. So the team was put looking first from a technical perspective, which is a construction perspective, a legal perspective, which is how do you create the legal structures to develop something of this scale, a finance perspective, because how will you pay, how will you actually make money out of a development like this, and then subsequently a sales and marketing team that would have to sell the whole thing together. But you're going to have a significant development in the next 3 or 4, 5 years. How do we stage all those things for it to make sense? Going further down, you're looking at your sewage treatment, you're looking at your power, all things that you want to happen within a city. And all those teams had to plug in to the overall vision, which was really for a first-class city. Yeah. I think the greatest challenge we had, and I say this with a lot of caution, was that we were coming from a standard that was, for lack of a better term, rather low. And majority of the people were living in a standard that we were aiming well above. And so, as I said, the constant reminder that this vision is, we don't just want to be better than what you have next door. We wanted to match ourselves with what would happen internationally. And that is, it's a significant challenge. We are looking right at it, right from the consultants we selected, many of whom were able to understand the vision, but making sure that that vision that they had and understood and they were selected for trickled right down to all their staff, and for all their staff to understand the caliber that we were looking for. The thing that held this team together, because I've mentioned several teams, I'm not even remembering all of them off the cuff right now, but what took them together was the vision and the constant vision. And every time you go into a board meeting, you're reminded of what the vision is.
So Two Rivers has seen us have to draw on partnerships from across the world, and they started from the get-go. We wanted to bring a product that was going to set a new standard in the market, and that started from the concept stage. So when we were doing the master plan, we brought planners, the best from across the world. They had partnerships with local planners, but we had to work with international partners. The design team has been from across the world. When it then came to the point of bringing on board investors, our partners, who I'm very grateful, bought into this vision. AVIC joined us all the way from China. We worked with local partners who worked with for a long time. ICDC, a long-time partner of Centum, invested in the project. Our tenants in the mall, again, reflect the face of, they are global in nature. We have retailers from Turkey, from the Middle East, from the UK, from different continents. And today we're in discussions with retailers from across the globe.
Villeurbanne is one of the oldest tableware brand, with its origin dating back to 1748. The brand is German, it's famous, it's all over the world, and one of the major reasons I would say that we are here is because we wanted to actually look for a great platform to expose it, and we felt Two Rivers is the right place for us to bring our 100% collection of the brand, whereby you can see all of it here. And we have actually taken a lot of time merchandising it in the right manner so that you can get a great feel about what actually the tableware should look when it is at your place.
We are in a good place. I think Two Rivers has done a fantastic job. You know, it's a place not only for us, Novo Coffee, but for everybody to visit and see. You know, this will be a great destination mall, more than any other malls in Nairobi. You know.
Two Rivers destination for me is a doorway to the rest of Africa. It will enable me to be able to present my theme, All Pool Steakhouse, to a variety of customers who are coming in from Uganda, Tanzania, Sudan, Rwanda, Congo, South Africa. And these are people who have walked through my door. Within the 6 months that we have been open, I have had customers from all those countries within Africa. And we are then able to showcase what we as Kenyans can do, what we can create, that we can create first-class brands, give first-class service and first-class food. And we have been able to do that within the 6 months that we have been open. So to me, Two Rivers has provided a showcase, a gateway to the rest of Africa, and ultimately to the rest of the world.
During the construction phase, we had, it was a global supply chain exercise to get the project running. The column claddings came from the UK, as an example. We procured the panels solar panels from Germany. We procured materials from India, from China. We had a lot of significant local content. So it's been an international collaborative effort. And as we progress, I expect that collaboration and that international collaboration is going to be even greater, because what is developed today as Two Rivers, it is less than 10% of the potential of what we are eventually going to develop. So this is the beginning of what is going to be a long journey.
We worked many long hours, sitting also with James Murray in the office to make sure that the business plan actually works, because we are coming up with the figures, they know what they want in the return. So we had to make sure that the figures worked as a business case. From budget to actual completion, the mall increased by 1/3. This is a very interesting project that when we broke ground in February 2014 on the mall, we had done the work in 2013, gone to tender 2013 on the mall. February 2014, Centum had gotten in a new anchor tenant, Carrefour, who needed a huge space, so we had to accommodate them. and increase the size of the mall. When we increased the size of the mall, we moved to the left side of the mall, and that place had bad soil, which we had not anticipated. We had to do piling there. So of course the budget increased quite a bit because of the sheer increase in size and other underlying factors, which you actually only find out when you hit the site.
And so what we do is you just have to resource up to the challenge. So if they say we've signed up this major tenant, you just get the troops on board, you get the designs out. The contractors had to do the same. They had to actually put an additional team, additional resources. So changes call for you to be able to be nimble, to be able to respond to challenges, and not like an oil tanker take a year to actually respond to a challenge.
This is a huge, huge building. So in terms, when I give you the figures, it's quite outstanding. 300,000 cubic meters of soil was excavated. We used 200,000 cubic meters of concrete, 16.3 million kilograms of steel. That's 16,300 tons of reinforcement steel were used in this building. We have 3 kilometers of shop fronts. So instead of just going shopping, you can actually go for your health run there. If you walk right through the mall, you'll walk 3 kilometers in front of the shops. The roofs, you see there's glass roofs and skylights. Those are about 4,200 square meters. That's 1 acre of glass roofs in a building. The tiles, it's a huge building. We have got 40,000 square meters of tiles. That's 4 hectares. I'm a rugby man, so that's about 4 rugby pitches of tiling. We have 29 lifts that are installed. We have 18 escalators on the site. We've got 4 autoworks or travelators. On the roof, we've got 1.28 megawatt solar capacity panels installed. We learned quite a bit on this project. There's a team from Australia who did the water tanks, huge water tanks. Potable water storage of 2.6 million liters, and that was a modular tank that was built from down going up. It was built and jacked up. I'd never seen this, so this is one of the things that we learned on this site, new technology that was used. On the site, we had at 1.6 cranes on a building, which is unheard of in Nairobi. This was like in Dubai. We had 3 batching plants. Bamburi Cement put in one of the biggest batching plants here. So apart from the site in Athi River, Bamburi had a batching plant on this side that would serve the site as well as other clients of theirs. We have 1.9 million liters per day of sewage being treated for the whole site. This is installed right now, and as the site is more populated and other people come and construct, this will cover the full capacity of the site. We have new technology here that is used, like the columns are clad in a very strong vitreous enamel steel panel that is used in subway stations in the UK. So, which is hard and resistant. I actually went to the UK and saw some that had been there for 40 years. It looked the same as they were 40 years ago. So this is hard wearing and also new technology that's been employed in this country. Even the fence around the site is the first time it's been deployed in this country. It's called a clear view fence, which you can actually see through, but it's impenetrable. It comes from South Africa. Company that's formed by Israelis, so you know Israelis and the security. So it's beautiful, you can see right through it, but you can't cut through it and climb over it.
We are also generating our own power, by the way. We're generating nearly half the power we produce. We going green, doing solar. We are independently doing our own sewer system. We are purifying all the water that comes from everywhere, and we will put into the river clean water that you could even use in gardening or other things. So we have taken environment to be a key driver to whatever we do.
So what we do in a building like this is we take all the roof water and we harvest it. We put it into the stream behind us, and at some point it gets cleaned up. We pump it back into the swimming pools and things like that. So we deal with water. We take sewage down to a treatment plant where it's cleaned up before quite clean water is discharged into a river. And in this mall particularly, we've installed solar panels on the roof parking. So the whole idea is that you draw power from the solar installation during the day, and when that power is depleted, you switch over to KPLC. So we've done all those initiatives. And then, of course, greening has everything to do with, do we use natural daylight? So if you look at the mall behind us, we brought in daylight. Do we use natural ventilation? This mall is not air-conditioned like a European mall. The wind blows through the malls. It was intentional. It wasn't an accident. So we work with natural daylight. We work with the climate. We work with the sunshine, and to minimize eventually consumption of water and consumption of electricity. So all of those things came together also in this project.
There are various challenges on this site, and on this project in particular, being the largest retail mall in Eastern Central Africa. A mall development is different from offices or housing, residential, in that when the project is nearly complete, you have tenants coming in and fitting out, and this has over 200 tenants. So even the contract document that we had, the preliminaries we had with the contractor in the contract, was very detailed so that there would be no claims on this by the contractor, because you'd have anchor tenants coming in at a different time, you have other sub-tenants coming in at a different time, beneficial occupation of different ranges, having different contractors all on one site and managing them, and yet maintaining stability, security, and all that. That's one of the challenges. And our big challenge was with the Chinese contractor. We've learned a bit of new words, and they have learned a bit of Kiswahili as well. So language barrier was a big issue. At any one point, the ratio of Chinese to Kenyan workers was 1:15. That is the ratio that Katik chose. So there are very many Chinese on the site, and very hardworking people. The language barrier was one. We have Kenyans who've gone to China and learned the language, so we had a few of them there. That was one big thing, a big challenge as well. Another big challenge that we had on the site was glass manufacture. As I said, we have 3 kilometers of shop fronts. We had 3 different contractors coming in to do the work. No single contractor in Kenya could handle this amount of work. We had the biggest glass manufacturer in Kenya dedicate his factory to the manufacture of glass for Two Rivers for over a year. So that was a huge big thing, a big challenge that we encountered. It's still a challenge because we still have to change some glass here and there. So glass was a big challenge in this project.
The site is unique here in this sense. We had a circular site. Normally we would have been given a rectangular site. So we've got the circular site, and we've got a huge level difference between the mall levels and the riverfront. Now the riverfront, or what's now called the aqua park, was always considered as being the one anchor which draws people, whereas Carrefour, our big grocery anchor, is on the opposite end of the mall. And between those two anchors, you actually have people moving and the smaller shops. And so what we decided very early on, acknowledging the fact that we do have an aqua park over here, is that all the food and beverage would face that, so that there's a visible connection between entertainment, because they'll even soon be able, we'll have rock band concerts here, etc. And people can sit here and eat and watch it. So all those things then start playing into the shape of the building.
As this is the two rivers, which I spoke about, the Gichi River and the Ruiruaka River, we built huge culverts. Now, the engineer had to design for worst-case scenario, a flood that has not been seen in 50 years, expecting a big tree to be uprooted and going downstream, and the bridge that the two bridges that were built on the spine road, that is called Road 1, on the site, would not be compromised. So we had huge culverts And that's to mitigate anything, worst case scenario that could ever happen. We cleaned up the river. The residents at Runda at the beginning were not too sure what would happen, but I think they'll be very happy with what has happened, and I'm for sure they're definitely happy. The situation right now has changed completely. We have a water park and slowed down the river, cleaned it up, filtered everything, and that water now is a feature that kids can play in. You can go right through it, you know. So it's a beautiful piece of engineering. And the other river that goes down to Runda is completely untouched and but cleaned up with reeds and everything.
Wow, Two Rivers has been a very, very challenging project. It's been very exciting. It has been full of lessons, and for me, some of the lessons I've learned is you cannot over prepare. Is to really take your time to do the preparation upfront, not to rush to site, to make sure that you've really covered all your bases. You have interrogated your design completely. You brought all your partners together to really engage your partners so that you understand their requirements clearly and make sure they are integrated into the design. So that is something I believe we are now well prepared to do, because we built relationships today that we did not have when we began. The third lesson is to really be careful in your choice of partners, and when you're doing large projects of this nature, to make sure you really go for the best and you take your time to really vet the quality of the partners that you're bringing into this kind of projects. We were fortunate to have really some of the best partners in the world in this kind of development, and I think those are some of the lessons that we will emphasize more. We've also learned the value of building local talent and using projects such as this to build local capacity. So one of the programs we initiated at the onset was a graduate management program. When we realized there was going to be so much knowledge created in the course of this development, and the worst thing was if we're going to lose it all. And so we recruited young engineers at the inception of this project, and I think their contribution has vindicated that decision, because the end team that delivered, critical to the delivery, was a team drawn from this cadre of young engineers, whether they are mechanical, electrical, structural, and those are the people who are going to be critical to maintenance of the project. The final lesson for me is that it is possible, and it's not over until you win. We've had very many challenges and difficulties, but the race is won by those who persist and who do not give up.
A uniqueness on this project for me personally is being in the industry for 25 years. It's a personal challenge in that the team from Athena are all very young. I found it very interesting actually managing the team and actually imparting my knowledge, but the one guiding light that I've had on the project is the actual enthusiasm from the local team here.
Lessons learned in the development. You're actually asking me this question when I'm in the middle of lots of snags and fixing and improving several small and important details. So right now I'm at a point where I am just looking at all the wrong things and everything, and I shouldn't say wrong, the things that are not well done, and looking at how to fix them, going through a lot of testing and commissioning. And so my focus right now is really on what's wrong. I'm going to have an opportunity to sit back later and think about everything that's right and everything that is quite good, and then debrief and look at lessons learned. That said, one of the key things is planning and more planning and more planning. And as I said, communicating your vision right from the very top, right to the lowest paid casual laborer. How do you communicate that vision so that everybody understands where you're trying to get to?
So what we thought was very important is to be able to respond to the needs of the visitor by understanding the trends, leveraging on technology. So we're able to understand who is coming to the center, where they are going in the center, what they are spending money on, what their needs are. And that enables us to do many things because it enables us to be smarter in our offering, to identify our areas of weakness and strengthen those areas of weakness, to understand customer shopping patterns, what days of the week are they coming in, what times of the day are they coming in, what can we do better to improve their experience, and to reward them in a targeted fashion by offering rewards linked to the interests of our customers, and also to be able to provide them with relevant offerings. You know, today, if you look at the typical profile of a middle-class citizen, you're on perhaps 4 to 5 WhatsApp groups, you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, you're bombarded with information. A lot of this information is not relevant to your requirements. So by having a better understanding of our markets, we're able then to target and provide you with very targeted information, and also be able to get relevant offers from our tenant partners to be able to provide to the market. So this is work in progress. What we currently have is the infrastructure is in place to do it. And so what now we need to do, and we're working on doing, is once we open, is then to leverage on this infrastructure so that we are not just a brick and mortar operator. You're a brick and mortar operator that is employing the latest technology to offer great experience to our customers, both physically and also virtually.
So a lot of the people that we have spoken to, tenants, other stakeholders, whenever they come to the development, have all been taken away by what we've been able to put together. They all leave there super impressed. A lot of them came just prospecting for space and eventually signed up, particularly the tenants. And they have been pushing us. They have been saying what you put together is superb, but they would like to see even more.
We chose Two Rivers, mainly focusing on 4 things: security, accessibility, the structure, and the environment. Okay, so these are the 4 things which makes Two Rivers really outstanding in this country. And also we have got a lot of international brands as well in Two Rivers. So that makes us gives us a good opportunity to expose ourselves as well, and to compete in the standards of these international brands at Two Rivers.
So basically, we started this pub with my partner, Deep Shah. We've been clubbing since we were 18 years old, so we've always been behind the scenes of the clubs. What inspired us was to do something different, to do something wild. Nairobi has potential. Nairobi has heavy spenders, so we wanted to do something very unique and different.
We're in a mall which is it's not even a mall, it's a city. So it's completely iconic, it's completely different from anything we're in currently.
One big milestone for us was creating an opportunity that was going to attract other investors. And to date, we've attracted over $200 million of capital into the project. I mentioned the Chinese investors, I've mentioned South African investors. We've also had bank financiers with us. And in this one project alone, we've been able to bring in $200 million into the project. It's also significant. I remember in 2015, this project alone contributed about 5% of the total foreign direct investment brought into Kenya, which for us was a significant milestone. So for us, it's an important project. In the context of Vision 2030, I think it fits across all the three pillars of Vision 2030. And for us, it's really just a question of being able to expand the areas that people can live, work, and play. It's also an opportunity for other developers to come and partner with us. We have other developers like City Lodge Hotels who are putting up a City Lodge hotel in the development. If we hadn't opened up that new area, they wouldn't have had an opportunity to put up a hotel. We have another developer, Victoria Heights Limited, who are putting up offices at Two Rivers Development. Again, if we hadn't opened up the opportunity, they would not have been able to get the space. So for us, it's about creating new urban planned environments to cater for a growing and expanding economy.
This is a Vision 2030 project, by the way. And we hope one day the president will have a chance to come and visit the mall, because we developed it because the president himself gave us confidence that Kenya is doing the right thing. Kenya has a caring government. Kenya is open to trade with the neighbors and everybody else. Our currency is a stable currency because the way it operates. And therefore, I believe people should be thanking a government which has done so much to stabilize the economy of this nation. We are becoming the focal point to attract investors to this region. Many delegations are visiting us from all over the world. And we hope we don't disappoint them. We hope we'll inspire them to invest. And for us, it's a big experience. We still have a lot to do. We belong to Africa. We are here in Africa. We are looking at many places, and we're going to try and play our role, making Africa take development to the rest of the world.
At the beginning, Centum's vision has never changed. They wanted something modern, sustainable, and they think big. I said at the beginning, this is an ambitious project when I first saw it. So they wanted to be the first in the region, the best in Africa, best in the world. So what they've done here is amazing, and I'm actually very proud to be involved in this. We've learned as professionals in this industry a lot from this project.
Yes, there's been huge sacrifices. You know, today we're in 2017. And personally for me, I've thought about this project and I've worked on it for every day for the last 7 years. So for the team, many people, the team at Avina, the team at Centum, our contractors, our tenants, it's been huge sacrifice, not being with our families, working late, working on weekends. But, you know, it's worth it. When you look back and you say, look at what has been created, look at what posterity will look like, and look back and say, yes, I'm proud. Would I rather not have gone through that sacrifice and not have had the Two Rivers today? The answer is an emphatic no. Have we had our joys? Yes, we've had our joys as we've hit the various milestones. It's been a joyful occasion. Have we had our disappointments? The answer is yes. We had targeted to complete much earlier than we have completed, and it's been disappointing to keep on pushing and postponing the opening. And with that disappointment, there have been the lessons, and those are the lessons I have shared with you. And I believe the next project will be able to be better than this one has been. But ultimately, when you combine all our lessons, all our joys, all our disappointments, I am proud of what the entire team has achieved. It has been an effort of thousands of people. There's been 2,000 people reporting to work every day to construct. Over the last 6 months, we've had a crew of 100 people to provide security, 200 people to clean. Think about another maybe 500 people working for tenants to make the experience ready. I think it's worth it. I would not trade it for anything else. It's one of those experiences you have in life that you say you are a better person that you went through that experience.
So it's now, whatever we are getting into, We no longer constrain ourselves by what resources do we have. For us, it's what's the vision. Are we doing something transformative enough? Are we doing something that's going to attract resources from internationally to come and partner with us along the vision? And so a running joke now is we've built the largest mall in sub-Saharan Africa. Whatever else we're doing, if it's going to be a school, if it's going to be a healthcare facility, if it's going to be a manufacturing facility, we are not thinking small anymore. It's really about, let's have a compelling vision. Let's do something so big that it scares us. There's a phrase that if your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. Two Rivers for us was a dream that scared us. And that's how we're approaching everything else that we're doing at Centum. I think the biggest impact that we could possibly have had is in the minds of Kenyans that it is possible, it's doable. If you have an idea, just go for it. We had a lot of naysayers saying it could not be done. That's a very remote part of Nairobi. And if you had listened to them, we probably would not have come this far. But whenever there's criticism, don't be discouraged, just continue executing. I like a saying that says, whether you believe you can do it, or whether you believe you can't do it, you're right either way. For us, we believe that we could do it, and 5 years later, it's done. And there's still a lot more that we're going to be doing in Two Rivers development, and it's all about believing in ourselves and making sure that we can do it. And I think there's a lot that people could learn from this experience.
I think the key success marker for Two Rivers was intended, and our vision was to set a new bar in the market, yeah? And you know, Henry Ford said, which is, I think I use a comparable analogy to this, to Two Rivers, is that if I ask my customer what they wanted, they may have asked for a faster horse. And sometimes customers do not realize that they have particular needs. I hope Two Rivers is a place you'll go for and realize, I didn't actually realize that I could have had such an experience. I think we'll be successful if we set a new benchmark in terms of what is possible for our customers. We exist to serve our visitors. And if we give our visitors an experience that they had not imagined possible, then we'll have been successful.
Watch out with your man.
We are the chosen generation. All I require for life, God has given me. wanna be famous. I wanna have lots and lots of money. It's all about the clouds. I wanna be free, like Nelson Mandela. I stand tall like a pyramid, so courageous. And no place I'd rather be. Oh na na na, oh na na na. And there's no place I'd rather be. Yeah. Oh na na na, live and die in Africa. Oh no. Live and die in Africa. Mama, live and die in Africa. Baraka zake hazikuishi, si kama binadamu abadiliki. Oh, kuliko lini, kuliko jana, kuliko lini. Yesu unipende.
Your Excellency, we are proud to present to you Two Rivers as the anchor development in the Two Rivers Transit. And emerging trends indicate that shopping, lifestyle, and entertainment are major drivers of global tourism today. I believe that Two Rivers can be for Kenya what Dubai Mall has been for Dubai. I would like to state that Two Rivers has transcended the bounds of simply being a private venture to becoming an undertaking with national and regional significance that will play an important role in showcasing the best of what we as Kenya have to offer the world. It will attract investment, create employment, enhance the tax base, catalyze the local industry, enhance the nation's competitiveness, and possibly become one of the most important tourism destinations in this country. Your Excellency, it is with gratitude and a deep sense of responsibility that we present to you Two Rivers. Thank you very much.
But I like to tell Your Excellency that this is a journey here where you are that started 5 years ago. This place was full of napier grass. There were a few cows, and that's what we bought. But we had a dream. Our board members, whom we don't have time maybe to introduce them, managed to believe that under your leadership, sir, Kenya is going places. So we thought we'd dream big. The dream is too big to be true, but it's true, sir. We are showing how and where you are leading Kenya.
Today is a great day in the history of our country and also in the history of Nairobi, because we are here to witness the official opening of Two Rivers, a project that has taken under 5 years. We work very closely with Mr. Kirubi and his team. I'm told that the construction covers 150,000 square meters, which is equivalent to 17 football pitches. And it costs $270 million. In the last 5 years, it's probably the largest investment, private sector investment that we've witnessed in this city.
First of all, a lot has been said about Two Rivers, Your Excellency, and this is a project that a lot of Kenyans have been anticipating and looking forward to the day it opens. You have seen and witnessed what we now have within Nairobi, and I'm really pleased personally to say that I'm very proud to see this major development that is a landmark for us in our country.
Let me begin first and foremost by saying it's a great pleasure to be with all of you at the opening indeed of this iconic mall. It's iconic because I believe it truly represents the possibilities and potential that exists in our country And indeed, it shows what we as a country can achieve when we put our minds to it and when both public and private sectors come together, as well as our international partners, all working together for the common good. To this end, I salute Centrum Investments for its boldness in conceiving and sponsoring, and indeed in leading this major project. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the kind of positive ambition that we need to transform and achieve the promise of this great nation. Let me also take this opportunity to thank AVIC, Old Mutual, and all other partners from across the globe who have participated in this project and have also joined us here today. This indeed is the way to transform our country, and this is what Kenyans are looking for. I wish once again to commend the investors of this project. You've all shown faith and confidence in Kenya, and I thank you for that. You can be sure that I, and my administration, will continue to do all in its power to support you and to encourage others like you to realize similar ambitions. Pongezi kwenu nyinyi nyote. It's a wonderful development that we have here. We're looking forward to more in the future, and it is indeed my great pleasure to declare this Two Rivers Mall officially opened. Asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki. Thank you.
I was driven in creating something that was a top experience like no other. One of my dreams in the Two Rivers, which I have not yet got it right yet, but it's going to be, is bringing the feelings of Times Square in New York. That is my dream. I continue to try to achieve it, and I'm sure one of these days we're going to achieve it. I'm getting many companies to come and put their neon lighting going on there, and we got people like Samsung partnership, and we'll get there. We want to create a place that life does not sleep, 24 hours experience. We have many, many restaurants there that will take advantage of it, and we hope when you get tired of sleeping, you wake up, you dress up, and you come to Two Rivers at any time of the night and day.